Look at all of you amazing beings fulfilling and honoring your commitment, being here every day or every day that you can be, listening and watching the replay, transforming your life, your mind reborn, remaking the very fabric of your consciousness, experiencing peace, better relationships, better money situation, better health, better connection with your purpose and destiny. Look at you, light of the world. Look at you accepting your part in God's plan for salvation. Look at you. Give yourself a pat on the back. We are at day 99. Day 99. Day 99. 99 days straight. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. 9 is a magical number. 9 in feng shui, powerful number. And 9 is the only number that cannot be disintegrated, assimilated. 9 always remains 9. In numerology, every multiple of 9 reduces to 9. That is the only number that does that. 9 times 2 is 18, 1 plus 8 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27, 2 plus 7 is 9. Go on and on. 9 times 3 is 36, 3 plus 6 is 9. 9 is the only number that always returns to itself. Powerful angel number. Look it up today. And also, we have double 9s, 99. Look at you. Let's go in with our meditation. Deep breath to prepare for lesson 99. Yes, Great Spirit, here we are. Open. Willing. Surrendered. Enthused to be the vessel for the divine, the all, honoring the all, honoring self as all. Breathe deeply and clear the mind. Drawing on that deep breath and flooding the body with prana while doing so. Vital life force energy. Chi. Ashe. This Ashe, spiritual power, divine energy, divine life force energy, coursing through all. It is the divinity of all. And we peer past the perceptions of the body's eyes and the lower mind to the absolute truth of reality. We peer past the clouds and go to ultimate reality, timelessness, endlessness, oneness, wholeness, holiness, perfection, pure love, not the sappy emotion, the energy of the universe. Breathe, clear the mind, relax the body. A relaxed awareness, a relaxed wakefulness. Allowing bliss, happiness, ecstasy, allowing vitality, allowing free flow of energy, completely aware of the energetic bodies, and completely aware of spaciousness in the all, completely aware of self as all and all as self, completely aware. And in this state of open willingness, blissful acceptance, peace, and a clear mind, relaxed awareness, we received the message for today, lesson 99. And of course, the Miracles, the Blue Book if you're new, or you can follow along at acim.org. Welcome to your new life. Welcome to rapid manifestation. Welcome to magic on unprecedented levels. Welcome to manifestation faster than you can ever imagine. Welcome to all your dreams unfolding effortlessly before you. Welcome to always knowing what to do, when to do, how to do it, and who to do it with. Welcome to your new world. Because the mind has been aligned with divine mind. Welcome to the most spectacular love relationships you can imagine. Or you have plenty of playmates on the planet. The Course calls them mighty companions. And as we open our eyes, we will have our first meditation of the day after this one, after the Course lesson for the day, per the instructions in the Course for the day. Let us slowly open our eyes, body's eyes, to peer out of the windows of the body and slowly to engage lesson 99. Welcome. You are loved. You are appreciated. You are the apple of this whole universe's eye. Lesson 99. Salvation is my only function here. Here we get to understand why we're really here, and we get to make some cuts, some eliminations. Salvation and forgiveness are the same. They both imply that something has gone wrong, something to be saved from, forgiven for, something amiss that needs corrective change. something apart or different from the will of God. Thus, do both terms imply a thing impossible, but yet which has occurred, resulting in a state of conflict seen between what is and what can never be. What is going on here? Salvation and forgiveness imply inherently that something's gone wrong. Someone made a mistake that has to be forgiven. Someone messed up something. And salvation means that we're in some kind of predicament that we need to be saved from. And that somehow something happened that is apart or different from the will of God. Deep down inside, we know this can't be possible. We know that everything is perfect. We know that there is really no way that you could go outside of the will of God. It's not possible. Therefore, once again, we come up into the state of conflict, a conflict between what is and what could really never be. It doesn't have any essential truth at its core. Truth and illusions both are equal now, for both have happened. The impossible becomes the thing you need forgiveness for, salvation from. Salvation now becomes the borderland between the truth and the illusion. It reflects the truth because it is the means by which you can escape illusions. Yet it is not yet the truth because it undoes what was never done. So imagine we're in a world of illusions. And in this illusory world, even Elon Musk called it a simulation. Sometime if you look up at the sky and you look really intently and you sort of dim your gaze and take the hardness off of your stare, you can sort of see a grid in the sky. It's very fascinating. You start to see things like that cat twice, a deja vu in the Matrix. That means, something's off. And Neo said, didn't we just see that cat? They said, what happened? They knew how the Matrix worked. They said, what did you see? He said, I saw that cat, and then I just saw it again. They said, uh-oh, and they started to move because they knew what that meant. It was a sign that something had gone wonky in the Matrix. And so what does that mean? It means that Coach Michelle, is everything okay? Because I see Queen Vashti isn't on stage anymore. Queen Hadassah isn't on stage anymore, and I see a notification that she waved at me. I'm not sure if something's going on with her.
I will check on that.
Okay, thank you so much. So we are in this matrix, a simulation, as Elon Musk put it. The movie Entertainment calls it the Matrix. Many corrals of people call it different things according to their perception of the world. That's why I like looking at things from many different perspectives, because we get a more holistic view of this thing. So if you go to the Toltec wisdom books by Don Miguel Ruiz, we know that they call this the dream world. It is not the real world. And they say you get all caught up in the dream world. And the dream world is not the real world. So you want to be careful. Then on top of that, I believe it's Buddhism or Hinduism, they call it Maya. It's not real. We call it also the third dimension. So this dimension of consciousness, this third dimensional plane, we know that this is not all of reality. And we know that this is somehow kind of like a carbon copy of reality. I grew up in the 60s. Yes, I'm super ancient. I understand that. And we used to have this thing called mimeograph. It was like this machine that used to make copies of an original. And I used to love to help with it in the office because I did anything to try to get out of class because it was so super boring. So, volunteer, who wants to clean the board, who wants to clean the eraser, who wants to go down the hall and wash the erasers in the big sink in the hallway, anything to get me out of this. This thing is horrible. And I keep daydreaming to escape it. And teachers keep saying, Valerie, yeah, I already passed the test. I have 100. What? What do you want from me? It's just, it was unbearable for me sometimes in school. And so we would go down the hall and help with, in the office, with the mimeograph machine. And it was a machine that you actually put like chemicals in. I don't know how they had these chemicals around kids, but hey, we did a lot of dangerous things growing up and none of us died. I think it just made us stronger. And you would roll out these pieces of paper and it would make a copy of the thing. And it smelled, it had this funny smell that I think kids like. I used to like the smell. It smelled funny. We were probably just straight up inhaling chemicals. I don't know. And uh, when you got this paper out, it didn't look like the original. It was just a little bastardized. That's this world. You see, you have the original. That's the thing that the person typed out and really created. That's God creating the real world. And then you have a stunt double copy, a whole bunch of stunt double copies, where we came along and we took God's creation, self, the perfect original, you, and we put it through our processing machine of our brain. And we made a stunt double, we made a copy. And what you notice about those copies is sometimes they're sideways when you look at it on a page because the paper didn't go straight into the machine extremely straight. And we didn't have time to keep making these over and over. So you just got the one with the sideways, a little tad sideways. And if somebody tried to make a copy of that, it would even get worse. That's what this reality is like. It's sort of like a bastardized version of the original God created. Now, because we're in this illusory world, right? Part of us, like you have a pinky toe in the illusory world, the whole rest of you is in the real world. Your pinky toe, right, of the soul is in a body. The whole rest of you is not even in a body. The rest of you couldn't even be contained in a body. We're just putting it in terms that our brains can latch onto and relax. And so here you have your pinky toe in the body as a soul, and your pinky toe is looking all around, deciding what the world is. How can your pinky toe look around and run the whole? Can your pinky toe run your whole body? There are some people that don't even have a pinky toe. I know all your toes are extremely important and they're great for balance and they're great for this and that. They're not meant to lead the show. The brain doesn't give the pinky toe uh, any kind of priority or prominence over something like the heart, the doorway to spirituality. Pardon me. No, we are not let the pinky toe run the show. That's what it's like when we let the lower egoic mind run the show. Pardon me, rather than the soul. The spirit man, the you, the real you, higher self. Pardon me, I need to get some water. So, peace to my mind, let all my thoughts be still. Hold for a moment. Water. Thank you for your help there. Thank you for your patience there. You'll remember that mimeograph machine, don't you? Oh my, beautiful 60s and 70s babies remember that. That's so beautiful. We have some beautiful childhood memories together. Okay. Ah, that ginger is lovely. I made myself some lovely ginger tea last night. Ah, body love. Body was telling me ginger, ginger, ginger. Your body will always tell you what it needs. I just listen to it. Oh, you want some ginger? Here, body, you get some ginger. Oh, that ginger. Whoo, yes. Pardon me, I'm having a ginger moment because ginger is just. The other day, I was thinking to myself, and was as I was swathing something in essential oils. I think I was doing my yoni aromatherapy because I do yoni aromatherapy. You can just, or you can do lingam aromatherapy as well, lingam or phallus for the male reproductive organs, and yoni um, aromatherapy for the female reproductive organs. And I tell you one thing, it was lavender, and you can just um, kind of give a nice brushing to your clothes, the undergarments of lavender, and then you have a nice aromatherapy going, and whatever works for you. Don't use a harsh um, essential oil. So anyway, and just wafting and getting carried away in the lavender scent. And I thought to myself, why do witches love lavender so much? And then I'm like, because if I just have lavender wafting through and a cup of ginger tea, like, isn't the world perfect then? Isn't it just perfect? Like, what do you really need? What do you really need in your life? It's so simple. It's not a lot, but it definitely has to involve lavender and ginger. Okay, I digress. Whoo! I'm having a
I'm
ginger
also
moment.
having ginger tea.
Oh my God, isn't it lovely?
It is very lovely. You
I,
know the one that I always bring.
I was getting ready to say the same ginger tea that you always bring to the events. Huh,
Yeah.
huh. I'm tasting it right now. Oh my goodness. And this ginger's just hitting my throat like, ha ha ha, we'll take care of this. I'm like, ha ha ha. Oh, thank you. Okay. I digress. Okay. So, all for ginger. Give it up for God as ginger. God showed up on the planet as ginger. Powerful healer, powerful healer, a corrector, restorer, reviver, energizer, slayer. It goes in there, it slays. It's multidimensional. Ginger is not of this world. I'm just convinced of that. Maybe Latoya can tell us more about ginger later because we do have on deck a doctor of Oriental medicine. And I know ginger is big in their top 50, I believe. Ginger is up there. Now, if you're in this illusory world, Maya, and you want to get to the real world, Dorothy. See, all our shows are about this too. All our movies are about this. Dorothy had to get home. Home. Home to where? Home to where her family was. Home to source. She had to get home. She was in a strange land. And she thought that a wizard was going to save her. Looking for a savior outside yourself. It's never going to work. You're the one to save yourself. And so if you are caught in this world, you had a storm, here comes a tornado, and you meet up with all of these funky monkeys and all of these, one witch that wants to kill you and another witch that wants to help you, and then finally a witch that tells you you killed a witch when you landed. That just got her sister upset, and her sister came for you. And another one uh, helped you and told you how to get home. Glinda was the, never forget that, you're the hero of your own story, and everyone needs a good witch. Well, Glinda told her, click your heels 3 times and go home. She had the power within her all along. Well, and what is red? Blood, passion, love, the heart, right? And that love can carry you. It can transport you. And it said that in A Course in Miracles, it said love can transport you into a climate of perfect peace and safety that nothing can disturb. Nothing can disturb the eternal peace and rest of the Son of God. That's what love will do. Love will transport you. It's a transporter. Instantaneous transporter. You don't even need Star Trek and the, disintegration of you here and the reassimilation of you there. You don't even have to disintegrate and reassimilate. Go there instantaneously in consciousness. So what we're understanding is that the crazy world that's not real, we find ourselves in it. And then the real world, what God created, the real world, peace, bliss, happiness, joy. There's not a problem with anyone. There's nothing wrong with you in this world. You're perfect, you're whole, you're holy. No one ever attacked you. No one can even ever see the real you. The real you is unseeable. Well, unattackable, invulnerable. And you get to decide who you are identifying with. Are you identifying with a little tiny human that walks around for 70, 80 years, gets older and older and older, then gets diseases and then dies? But in between has a whole lot of problems. You could do that. Or you could come home to the real world, Dorothy. And we're now hearing that salvation is the borderland between the truth and the illusion. So the illusion is not real, yet because we think it is, we need something to escape it. That's profound. What it's saying is that our delusion is so grand, and our attachment to what we have imagined and conjured in our imaginations about ourselves has taken such a stronghold that we actually need saving from something that doesn't even exist. But we believe it so strongly that we need something. Okay? We believe it's like children. It's like a monster under the bed. Baby can't go to little Joey, Susie, whomever can't go to sleep. And this monster in the bed, it's monster. And they're convinced it's monster in the bed. You look under, you see, there's nothing under there. It's okay. We'll leave this little light on. We'll leave your little glowing stars on. And you leave, no, I have to sleep with daddy. You and daddy. But you're tired of this little 3-year-old kicking you in the back all night. It's like, we got to put our foot down. And dad is like, no, that's why you got that bed. And you're trying to convince them and coax them to stay in this bed over here, right? Well, many countries don't have this because many countries have a family bed. The whole family sleeps in the same bed, which is good for birth control too. In America, we have, everybody has to get their own bed at a certain time. Babies have their own beds, which is really not good for babies. But anyway, you say to the child, I'll tell you what, here's where you start making bargains because it's 2:00 in the morning. They woke up with a bad dream and you just want to go back to sleep or back to whatever you were doing. You were dad, right? Guess what? I'm going to give you this magic teddy bear. It's a magic teddy bear? Yes, it's a magic teddy bear. Well, what does it do? It blasts. Do you see this teddy bear has a little sword? Yes. It's going to kill a monster if the monster comes. It is? Yes. Now you can tell they're kind of looking at you like, really? They want to believe it, but they don't quite know if they're convinced yet. You can see everything that's going on in a 2-3-year-old's mind because it's all on their face, right? And there's no filter. So you're just getting it plain and clear and straight. They're just the realest people on the planet. And yes, and if the monster comes up, just press the button on the belly, on the bear, has some sound, right? That's when this sword will just kill that monster. It does? Yes. And we're parents, we're really good at convincing our kids of things that don't exist. Santa Claus and Kris Kringle, Santa Claus, all these things, they have an element of reality to them. The tooth fairy has an element of they came from somewhere, and the thing they came from was real, was existent. We've bloated them into these big, glorious stories that children love. And we love to tell it because we love to see the big wonder in their eyes. So we just tell our kids a whole lot of stories. My mom called them lies, and she never told us any of those. She said they're all lies. And she never even read us fairy tales at all, not Grimm's fairy tales, nothing. Because she said a tale is a lie, and we don't tell lies around here. So we don't read fairy tales. You can read the encyclopedia. That's where you have the Encyclopedia Britannica. You can read the dictionary. You can read the Watchtower and Awake from the Jehovah's Witnesses. Like that was all my reading material. We couldn't read you could read a science book for kids, right? Nonfiction. You couldn't read anything else other than that. And she told you the stories from the Bible. Well, if the kid is so convinced that there is a monster under the bed, there will be nothing you can do to unconvince them unless you pay close attention, slightly enter into the illusion with them and solve the illusion from inside their mind where it is. Is that genius or what? God is like, well, none of this exists. They so think it does. Give them something to escape it. That's what salvation and forgiveness are. Until you get into truth, you've never been outside of the will of God. How could there be a meeting place at all where earth and heaven can be reconciled within a mind where both of them exist? Well, if both the unreal world exists and the real world exists, wouldn't we be going ping-ponging back and forth between the two? How can we reconcile this? The mind that sees illusions thinks them real. If you can still see illusion, it's real. They have existence in that they are thoughts. They do have existence because thoughts are real, and yet they are not real because the mind that thinks these thoughts is separate from God. That's the distinction. The mind that is thinking these thoughts is not the mind of God. It's mind we created that's just gone rogue. What joins the separated mind and thoughts with mind, capital M mind, and thought, capital T thought, which are forever one? What joins my mind that has gone off to, I'm going to slap a bitch, to let me remember I am one. I am one self, united with my creator and with all creation, limitless in power and in peace. What happens? What causes you to bring your mind to oneness? What plan could hold the truth inviolate, yet recognize the need illusions bring, and offer means by which they are undone without attack and with no touch of pain? This is so gently done because we're the toddler in the bed convinced there's a monster under the bed. And Source is the one reassuring us and hugging us and kissing us and making us know you're safe. No, there's a monster coming to get me. No, somebody's going to come attack me. I need a lot of locks. I need a lot of alarms. I need a lot of protection. I need a lot of masks, a lot of jabs. I need anything I can find just to protect. What are you protecting? Whatever you're protecting, if it needs that much protection, it is super weak. What is this? A piece of china? Are you a piece of china? What but a thought of God could be this plan? So what's the plan here? By which the never done is overlooked and sins forgotten, which were never real. What is the plan that joins this crazy mind with divine mind once again and just sweeps away everything that's not real without fight and no attack? The Holy Spirit holds his plan of God exactly as it was received of him within the mind of God and in your own. There's something in you called, according to the Course, the Holy Spirit. Now, some could call it Ashe. Some could call it the voice for God. Many different people have many different ways of calling it. Some people call it the Holy Spirit. If you're in the Christian paradigm, you know of it as Holy Spirit, God the Father, God the Mother, which is, well, they said God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost. Um, God the Father, God, I say it, God the Father, God the Mother, God the Son. That's the Holy Trinity, which was completely made up, and I talk about that. It was invented by humans. I talk about that in my Forbidden Knowledge series. Watch that on YouTube. And still, even though humans invented it, there was a shred or a morsel in there of something that came from reality, something from the real world. And so, in the Christian paradigm or Christ based paradigms, we call it the Holy Spirit. In traditions that do not have Christ, and you want to be a universal, you want to be a minister to all the people that will listen to me, as Dr. Joe Dispenza is an international universal minister. He is a wonderful example of this. Dr. Joe Dispenza says he does not use any lingo that is associated with any particular faith or walk, because he noticed that when he even used the word chakras in his huge seminars, his huge workshops where 1,000 people could be in there at one time, all being healed of something, that he noticed that everyone couldn't identify with chakras. It's a loaded term. And when you say chakras to people, right away people may think India, or they may think as a guru, or they may think yoga, or they may think, that's the devil if you're a Christian. Who knows what you're thinking? And just because you were in a meditation and you got caught up on the word chakra, you're no longer in the meditation and getting the healing. So he just calls them energy centers. It's energy. If you don't like energy, you shouldn't be here, because this is all about energy. So please don't get too caught up in the wordology of the course. We've said this over and over and over and over again, because you hear God and you hear him and you hear father, and you don't hear mother, you don't hear goddess, you don't hear she. Don't get caught up in the wordology. Use whatever words work for you. Go through to the core and the essence of the meaning of what the course is saying, and don't look at the lingo, the clothing that the message is wearing. It's very important that we distinguish. It is apart from time in that its source is timeless. Holy Spirit, this helper, this inner voice for God that everyone has. Everyone has a voice for God. Everyone has a voice that is the inner voice that tells you everything. It's your helper. Well, this voice is out of time. It's timeless. It operates in time because of our belief that time is real, because of your belief that time is real. So because we believe time is real, it's talking to us in real time. There's no such thing as time. And, the more I meditate, the more I see that everything is all present right here and now. It's all kind of like one. It's all kind of like stacked up on top of each other. That's still not really a good description. It's all existing here now as one. If as one. There's no you 3-year old years ago. And there's no you 100-year-old years from now. It's all happening now. It's all simultaneous. And you can tap into any simultaneous point in the quantum field with your mind. Unshaken does the Holy Spirit look on what you see, on sin and pain and death, on grief and separation, and on loss. We believe these things. We believe in sin. We believe in damnation. We believe people are going to hell. We believe in death, that death is somehow the end. If we didn't, we wouldn't be having these elaborate burial experiences akin to the Egyptians. Would we? No, we would not be. We believe in grief, and the grief comes because we think someone left and all they did was drop their body. Energy cannot be destroyed. Science has proven it. It can only transform. It can only change shape. It can only change form. It can't be destroyed. Separation. We believe in separation. You're over there and I'm over here. We're going to fight. We believe in loss. Oh, I just lost this. I lost my home. I lost that. I lost that. I lost so much. And after a while, I looked down at myself and I was like, well, what did I really lose? I'm still here. My consciousness is well intact. Matter of fact, my consciousness is even better because I have some more experiences and I have more wisdom. Uh, we're all, everyone's fine. What did we really lose? You haven't lost a thing because loss is not real. Yet, does he know one thing must still be true? God is still love, and this is not his will. See, the voice for God in you, that inner voice, it knows that all these things that you look upon, they're not real. And it knows one thing: God is still love. God is love no matter what. God is, I am is love. And this is not God's will for you, that you be in pain and sickness and suffering. That's not God's will for you. This is the thought that brings illusions to the truth and sees them as appearances behind which is the changeless and the sure. This is the thought that saves and that forgives because it lays no faith in what is not created by the only source it knows. It does not put faith in things that are not created by source. That sideways mimeograph copy, it's not going to use that. And it's certainly not going to use it to make more copies and get the situation even worse. It is not going to use that. It knows that's not the original. You're the original. This is the thought whose function is to save by giving you its function as your own. Salvation is your function with the one to whom the plan was given. Now are you entrusted with this plan along with him? He has one answer to appearances, regardless of their form, their size, their depth, or any attribute they seem to have. Appearances. Notice the word appearances. Appearances means illusions. Appearances mean not real. This is the one response, one answer. Salvation is my only function here. God still is love, and this is not his will. Salvation is my only function here. God still is love, and this is not his will. The goddess still is love, and this is not her will. The universe still is love, and this is not its will. Infinite intelligence still is love, and this is not the will of infinite intelligence for me. You who will yet work miracles. Oh, that's you, working miracles. Be sure you practice well the idea for today. Try to perceive the strength in what you say. For these are words in which your freedom lies. Your father loves you, the universe loves you, your mother loves you, Allah loves you, Buddha loves you, Jehovah loves you, Yahweh loves you. All the world of pain is not his will. Source did not create a world of pain. This is where a lot of people go into nihilism and where I have really been tripped up a lot in my life because I was in pain and I couldn't understand why I couldn't get out of pain and suffering for more than 10 minutes or 30 minutes. It seemed like pain with brief respites from pain. It didn't seem like this extended beauty experience. This is not the will of God. And so people get very jaded because it's just bad for them. Forgive yourself the thought he wanted this for you. Just let that thought go. Then let the thought, capital T, thought, with which he has replaced all your mistakes, enter the darkened places of your mind that thought the thoughts that never were his will. Okay? So what are we going to do? We're going to let the thought, capital T thought, this is a higher elevation thought. This is a higher mind thought. This is a capital M mind thought. We're going to let that thought replace mistakes and enter the dark places in our mind that thought the thoughts that were not God's will, like sickness and death and pain and sorrow and people leave me and I'm abandoned, blah, blah, blah. We know it well. We've practiced it for decades, most of us. This part belongs to God, as does the rest. See, this is not your part to do. It does not think its solitary thoughts and make them real by hiding them from him. Let in the light, and you will look upon no obstacle to what he wills for you. All you want to do is open. Be willing. The Course says over and over again, willingness. Be open, be willing, let the light in. Open your secrets to his kindly light and see how bright this light will still shines in you. Open to the light. It's like opening the shutters of your consciousness and letting the bright sunlight in to let all the cooties and the little gremlins that have been hiding in the dark, expose them to the light and they evaporate. They were never real in the first place. They were monsters under the bed. Practice his thought today. Practice higher mind thoughts today. And let his light seek out and lighten up all darkened spots and shine through them to join them to the rest. It is God's will your mind be one with his. The universe is longing for all its children to return to the oneness of the all. It is God's will that he has but one son. It is God's will that his one son is you. Think of these things in practicing today and start the lesson that we learned today with this instruction in the way of truth. Salvation is my only function here. Salvation and forgiveness are the same. Then turn to him who shares your function here and let him teach you what you need to learn to lay all fear aside and know yourself as love, which has no opposite in you. Know yourself as love, capital S self. What you're going to do in our meditation, we're going to turn within and we're going to tell ourselves salvation is our only function here. This is not the will of God. Salvation and forgiveness are the same. And then we're going to turn our attention to higher self, also known as holy guardian angel in magic. In occult, mystical terms, it's called, in occult terms, not mystical, occult, in which occult and mystical can be. I want to be correct, accurate in messaging and wordology. In occult practice, it is called the HGA, Holy Guardian Angel, that teaches you everything, tells you everything, guides you around this whole universe, and you want to connect with and have what is called knowledge and conversation, KNC. KNC of the HGA. Knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel. As you're in the mystery school, in initiation, and in ascension, we will soon be talking about the Holy Guardian Angel and the function of the Holy Guardian Angel. The mystery school is a magic school. That's what we do. We do magic as a spiritual path, not magic like presto, chango, like get a wand and a tall top hat and pull a bird out of the hat. Not that, of course, right? We're talking about the spiritual path to ascension, magic with a K at the end, as Aleister Crowley gave us. We understand that we have a guide. Christianity calls it the Holy Spirit. Spirituality, or the New Age, calls it higher self. In occult circles, we call it HGA, Holy Guardian Angel. Some people call it, that are atheists, intuition, hunch, gut. Who cares what you call it? Please don't get caught up in the pointers, words of pointers, and nothing more. Nothing more. Because these words will start to do strange things if you latch on to them. It's like latching on to a map when you want to be at the destination. Now, because you have this inner teacher, you have a guide, you're going to turn to this guide and you're going to let this guide teach you what you need to learn, which is going to be different for each person, to lay all fear aside, know yourself as love. It's going to teach you step by step by step. And you notice that it's already been talking to you. It's been teaching you every day. I'll lay that aside. What do I need to learn to lay all fear aside? I need to learn I'm safe because I still don't think it, because I got this locked up. I got that locked up. I got this scary thing happening, that scary thing happening. Oh, I just missed that. Oh my God, this happened. What do I need to learn to lay all fear aside? See, you're not going to just lay all fear aside. We can't do it. We need to learn some things first to lay all the fears aside. What do I need to learn? I need to learn perfect safety. Oh, a bunch of fears just dropped off. I'm perfectly safe. You're perfectly safe in this universe. Even if I go to a foreign country? Yes, the safety doesn't stop at the border. Love is transnational, transcontinental, transplanetary, transgalactic. Forgive all thoughts which would oppose the truth of your completion, unity, and peace. Bam, that's my word for today. For I forgive all thoughts, say it to yourself, which would oppose the truth of my completion. That means you're complete just like you are. You don't need anything. My unity and my peace. I forgive all thoughts which would oppose the truth of my completion, my unity, and my peace. You cannot lose the gifts your Father gave. You can't lose. You do not want to be another self. You have no function that is not of God. The whole universe is one. Forgive yourself the one you think you made. Forgiveness and salvation are the same. Forgive what you have made and you are saved. Boom. Boom. The Course said, just drop your bullshit story. Forgive what you made up. Just forgive it and save yourself. There is a special message for today, which has the power to remove all forms of doubt and fear forever from your mind. Wow, I want that. Something that's going to remove all forms of doubt and fear forever from my mind. I'm sitting up. What is it, Course? If you're tempted to believe them true, remember that appearances cannot withstand the truth these mighty words contain. Doesn't matter what you're seeing in the third dimension. What you're seeing in the third dimension cannot withstand the truth, which is the will of God. Salvation is my only function here. God still is love, and this is not his will. You just look right at it. You look at a fight, you look at a war, Salvation is my only function here. God still is love, and this is not the will of the universe. Your only function tells you you are one. Remind yourself of this between the times you give 5 minutes to be shared with him, who shares God's plan with you, your inner God, your inner teacher. Remind yourself, salvation is my only function here. Thus do you lay forgiveness on your mind. You lay forgiveness on your mind and let all fear be gently laid aside. Gently, no fighting. No, I don't want to be in fear. This fear keeps coming up. Stop. Simply lay it gently aside. We don't need the histrionics. That love may find its rightful place in you and show you that you are the Son of God. You are the child of this universe. You are part of an infinite intelligence and an infinite awareness that is beyond comprehension, beyond definition, beyond anything any of us can imagine. I'm going to prove it to you. And then we're going to have our meditation. Take this into your meditation, family. Take this into your meditation. Yesterday, I sat in one of my favorite cafes down here in Merida, Mexico, where I have a home. And I was eating avocado toast. Magnificent. Queen Vashti knows this place. She came with me. They even put little flowers on top of the toast, right? On top of it's got this pesto. It's roasted tomatoes. It's beyond delicious. And so here it says, oh, thank you, Aeon. Thank you, Aeon. Thank you. You're such a beautiful spirit. I see your light shine so bright. I want that too, but I know I already have it and should let it out. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. Yay! I love that. That is exactly right. Okay, so here's the deal. I was sitting there eating the avocado toast when something brilliant occurred. A piece of avocado fell to the ground. This is outdoor. We do a lot of outdoor cafes. Like Paris. I love places that have a lot of outdoor cafes. In Paris, you can sit in those outdoor cafes for hours. And, except Parisians do a whole lot of smoking at their outdoor cafes and drinking wine. And you don't really see a lot of Mexican people smoking like that at their outdoor cafes. They're huddled around a table, with a group of family. And part where I live, it's different all around Mexico, different places, right? Different vibes. Well, in Latin America, it's very much I love that about Latin America. Like in the morning, you're going to get the fabulous pastries and the good coffee and all of that. No matter if you got Cubanos near you, you got, Dominicanos near you, you got any Puerto Ricans near you, you're going to get some good morning stuff, right? They got the morning stuff laid, laid. Okay. Well, the avocado fell to the ground. We're outside. I'm sitting under a tree, getting my vitamin D, sun coming in, not in direct sunlight, I'm sitting filtered sunlight through the leaves, sitting there with the trees, soaking up the energy of nature, eating food from nature by loving hands who created fresh that morning. It was relaxing, and I was reading my book, Inner Engineering by Sadhguru, which I'm bringing to Dubai because it's so astounding. I'm like, oh my God, this needs to be our textbook for Dubai because this book is astounding. The avocado dropped on the ground. I was like, oh, piece of my avocado dropped on there. Oh, shucks, because I'm just hungry. A few minutes later, I looked at, but I moved my foot. Something had me move my foot. I don't know why, because the avocado dropped like right by my foot. And something had me just move my foot. I looked down a couple of minutes later because I was going to get a napkin or something and pick it up. I was so into my avocado toast. When I looked down, a circle of ants had encircled this avocado and they were going at it. I said, look at the infinite intelligence of the universe. Look at the infinite intelligence of the universe that never turns off, never doesn't know what to do, and is always doing its perfect thing. How did the ants do? When I sat down, I saw no ants. They were doing their ant business. And then they got the signal. Someone just dropped breakfast for us and our queen. Let's go get it. How do the ants get the signal? I'm sure science has it all figured out. I don't know. I don't study ants in a scientific fashion. I study everything in the universe from a spiritual perspective. I was amazed. I stared at those ants. I'm like, do they think? I wanted to know what they were thinking. Do they think that they can take this whole piece of avocado? But I've seen ants do. And I've seen ants do very bizarre feats of strength. They can lift things much heavier than themselves because they all work together. So they absolutely can lift things that are far bigger than them. And I sat there and I said, look at the intelligence of the universe that is always perfect. And yet we think we have a better plan. That's insanity. We think we have a better plan than what's digesting your food right now from last night and turning a sweet potato into a brain cell. We think we're smarter than that. I don't even fucking know how that happens. How do you turn, I don't know, how do you turn ginger into something that does something in your body? Scientists know all that. I'm not talking about the actual mechanical steps that cause that to happen. I'm not interested in that. I'm committed to the wonder and the beauty and the perfection and the intelligence and the grace of this universe that is beyond comprehension. How does a baby know to develop? How does your body know exactly how to beat your heart? How does your body know exactly which hormones to secrete at exactly the right time in the exact amounts? How does it know to keep your sugar in balance? How does it know to store this amount of fat and then if it recognizes a toxin, if it can't get rid of it, we got to put it somewhere where it's going to not affect? How is it taking complete assessment of all your organs and compensating for everything? How is it taking orders from infinite intelligence? Do you understand that the infinite intelligence of this universe, of which we are all one, is perfect? There's nothing to figure out. I think it's so liberating. We still think we got a better idea than that. We think we have a better idea than all the planets in their perfect. How does Venus know how to do a star in the sky? It looks like a pentacle. The orbit of Venus looks like a pentacle. How does it know to do that? How do all these stars, how do all these planets have their own orbit? And they're not bumping into each other. They're in perfect harmony. And you never heard none of them arguing. Venus is not arguing with Mars at all. Perfection. An infinite intelligence of this whole universe that is unfathomable. When we start tinkering with things, we don't even understand what we're tinkering with. That's why we keep making disasters. That's the lower mind that thinks it has a better idea than the God plan. And all we're saying is the God plan is perfect, and you can prove it to yourself if you go in nature that the river is still running the correct direction to the ocean. And somehow, no matter how much garbage swirls we can put in the ocean still is doing its thing. How is all this happening? And it happened before you came here, and it's going to keep happening after you came here. How is this happening? Did you ever ask these things and just be awed by a sunrise? Let's meditate. Meditate on that. Meditate on why would my mind stay in the crazy, I'm going to solve all my problems, when this whole giant universe is taking care of everyone from the ant to the alligator to the whale to you. Why do you think you have to take care of yourself when God just gave a big glob of avocado? Don't you think the universe knew I was probably going to drop that avocado? Of course it knew, because there's no future and there's no past. Just a point in the universal field. And you are infinite intelligence. You can see all the points in the universal field. There's no backwards and forwards. It's not a one line train track, linear. Get all the linear thinking out of your mind. It'll fuck you up in spirituality. It will fuck you right on up, and not in a good way. You know, we used to have a song, we gonna funk you right on up. We gonna funk you right on up. I used to love that song when we were coming up. This is gonna funk you up in a not good way. No linear. It's infinite. It's multidimensional. It's multi-expressional. Let's meditate on that now. 5 minutes. Breathe. Salvation is my only function here. Tell yourself, God is still love. This is not his will. When you're looking at something that tempts you to come out of the oneness of the universe of life, salvation is my only function here. Salvation is my only function here. The will of this universe is love. You are that love. And that is our 5 minutes, signaling the completion of our first practice period today. Yes, who's our Namaste Life? Inner engineering is a game changer. Oh, it's delicious. Oh, it's delicious. Not to mention, I adore Sadhguru. I adore Sadhguru. All right, let's talk about it. Come to the stage. Mods, we're going to talk about it on Clubhouse. That's what we like to do. We like to have discussions. Good morning.
Can't be any more clear.
Question, your voice is a little low, or to make sure it comes through for YouTube, for the live stream.
Is it better?
Oh, much better.
Okay, good. Salvation, I like this, is my only function here. And just, to meditate on what, we talked about everything doing what it's supposed to do as it was created to do, except us. We're doing what we want to do, what we think is great for us to do. And most of it is not even what we're supposed to do. And then how is that? How is it that we are just running amok on this planet when we don't, the birds don't need special instructions, the planet don't need special instructions. And it's nothing else for me to understand that once again, all is mine. And all is joined in mine. Because it says here, how could there be a meeting place at all where earth and heaven can be reconciled? Or reconciled within a mind where they both exist. So there's a place where we can reconcile this split mind in our mind so that we can live the purpose that we came here for. And this lesson tells us that salvation is our only function here. And salvation, not so much in the biblical terms, but meaning right thinking. Our minds are saved from anything that will take us off of our divine creation, why we're here in the first place. So, we're coming out of that. This is lesson 99. The course goes over and over again. Why we're here? Why are you here? Why are we here? What is humanity for? What is this? And so clearly, salvation is part of this. It's the whole part of it. To come into this world to understand that we are created beings, created for a purpose. The purpose is not our purpose, although we make up our own. And salvation is coming into the clear understanding of what my function is here. And that's what this lesson gives me today, the gift of understanding that salvation is my only function here. Save myself. There's a time where I thought that it was my job to save the world or save everything or everybody in it. No, it's very clear that salvation, getting my mind right, is my only function here. And I'm complete. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Queen.
Good morning, Queen. I believe, this is my take on it. Just to follow up with what you were saying, Queen Hadassah. I'm feeling that all of this is part of the divine plan and that we were given divine free will. So that's why we think we know. And we go through these lessons and we try to figure it out. And then as we grow and we learn and we go through lifetimes, we come to this point that we get this lesson and we find A Course in Miracles. And now we're learning that salvation is my only function here. Like it's all a part of the grand plan that eventually you get to this point and you have the realization. And it's like a prize at some point on the journey. It's growth. So we've gotten to this point because we've done the work thus far. Everyone that is listening to this and everyone that has gotten to this point in A Course in Miracles. And like, okay, they did good. Okay, now let's go ahead and let them know something awesome. And that awesome thing is like salvation is your only function here. All you have to do is just save yourself. Save yourself and don't worry. Like, there's no need for you to worry. There's no need for you to run around and do all these things. You simply must be. And the message was given to us all the time, all throughout our journey, whether it's, lifetimes or years or whatever. We've been given the message, but we just didn't quite get it yet. And then now today on A Course in Miracles in Clubhouse, the Christian Witches Room, now we say, get an aha. Hey, wait a minute. Salvation is my only function here? Okay, I'm going to run with that. And it is freeing. As Coach mentioned earlier, it is freeing. And it's like, hey, I feel like a ton of weight has been lifted off me because my only function here is salvation. So I don't know what they do, but they'll get to it, and, you just kind of pass the message on as spirit offers it to you, you offer it to someone else that is ready to receive it. And that's where that's where it's hitting with me, that you're just in the right place at the right time to receive this message. And it just so happens to be in this Clubhouse room. So I'm complete. Coach, we can't hear you if you're speaking.
No, I was simply sitting, enjoying the discussion.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I love this lesson because of the simple fact it says salvation and forgiveness are one. And it's in forgiving ourselves for creating the illusion that we are in pain, or that we suffer, or that we die, or we lose something in some way. To forgive ourselves, to go deep within and realizing that, we are complete, we are holy, we are one with God. And this is just all fake stuff. It's not real. And that's the truth, is that it's the illusion. And knowing that and forgiving ourselves for that and saying, Honoponopono to ourselves, I'm sorry that I even thought this thought. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you for realizing that this is an illusion, that this isn't real, that this is not what God would have for you. It brings a sense of peace and a sense of knowing and salvation all at once. So I love this lesson. Thank you. I'm complete.
Doctor of Oriental Medicine, could you tell us about ginger? I was hoping you came to the stage today, Latoy.
I know, I heard you talk about that, and I was like, okay, I'll come on stage also for that. Ginger, it goes to the lungs and the stomach, so it's great for nausea and vomiting. It also helps you to sweat out any pathogens you might have. It's an expectorant, so it'll help you cough out anything. Also, I would add to that, getting something that's antimicrobial, antiviral, an herb. You can utilize thyme, eucalyptus, elderberry, echinacea. Those are also good if you're having like a cold or a virus in your system that causes coughing, congestion, light fever. So hopefully that helps. Even ginger, but I love ginger, but I would tell people if you're on blood pressure medication or you're hypertensive, don't take that. Substitute that with like thyme, eucalyptus, and elderberry. But yep, that's my advice. I'm complete.
Yummy. When is your room? You have rooms, yes?
I do. I took off 3 weeks because my body was going funky on me. I getting to have dizzy spells and stuff. So I took a break, and I will be back in 3 weeks. I posted on the room when I'll be back. So
Excellent. And what's the name of the rooms? What's the name of the club so people can join it?
it's Gaia's Love, Nature's Wisdom.
Gaia's Love, Nature's Wisdom.
Yep.
Beautiful. On Clubhouse. I'm putting it in the chat on YouTube and Facebook as well. So family, Latoy, you're a doctor of Oriental medicine. How did you do that? What drew you to that? How did that unfold?
Well, the fact is I did nursing, and I was like pediatric transplant nurse, and I was not satisfied with the whole medical process.
Wait a minute, you were a pediatric transplant nurse?
Yes.
You worked with babies and children that were getting transplants?
Yep. heart.
Whoa, that's some
Yes,
heavy stuff to do right there.
yes, it was.
Super
And
emotionally charged all the time.
oh yeah, and if you lost a kid, it's even worse.
It's
So yeah.
devastating. Wow. Okay, continue. Wow.
So I did that, and like I said, I wasn't satisfied. And then I remember my roots, being a Caribbean, that we always use herbs. My grandmother always gave us teas and things as opposed to, medication. So I was like, you know what? I want to do herbs. I really love herbs. And then I saw acupuncture and Oriental medicine as being one whole thing with treating the system and bringing it back into balance, and it had herbs. So I went into that and I did it for a few years. I loved it. Great for pain management. And I also incorporated herbal medicine with it. And then, of course, my health hit. Got cancer, and so I had to step back, and I decided to go into Western herbs. And so I got a certificate for Western herbs as well. And now I've decided to, like, you know what, I have all this knowledge, so let me give it out and see if it, resonates with anybody. So that's my story.
Was your experience when you were a pediatric transplant nurse, was it a nerve-wracking experience? Was it a joyful experience? What were you experiencing on the inside as you were being with all these babies and children and operations and parents and doctors? And what was happening on the inside for you in that?
Sometimes it was great because you saw the child get healthy and get discharged. Other times it was hard because some parents just didn't show up. So that's hard on the psyche, knowing that these kids are in the hospital for days and there's like no parental figure at all showing up. Other times it was just sad because you lost somebody, but in my mind, I think, okay, at least they're not suffering anymore because it's rough. It's doing transplant. You're basically destroying the immune system to accept another person's organs. So, yeah, it was a catch-22. It's a double-edged sword, so it was complicated.
Very complicated. Would you say that most people, is it a good survival rate after people get organs? Would you say like, I don't know, 80%, 90% do well? What happens on the after they get the organ or organs?
Well, that's the thing. Sometimes, because these are kids, they're dependent on the parent to keep up with the medication, and sometimes they don't. And the kids come back and require, more medical invasive surgeries to keep them alive. I think with a good, strong family foundation, survival rates are great. But with some of the kids that I experienced with, it was a roller coaster, and that was sad.
So you saw a direct correlation between the support system the child had and the either survival or recidivism, that a lot had to do with what's around them, the support system, the family, the
Absolutely.
love, the care, the caretaking.
Absolutely. Without that, it's like, you know, it wasn't a good outcome. So yes, definitely.
Wow. So when they see children that don't have that, do they go ahead with the organs anyway, or do they try to get that for the child? Like maybe go to extended family? Is there a social component to it also? Is it integrated with a social component, or is it simply just pure medicine?
They try. I mean, you get social workers involved, you get a medical team involved, and, encourage the patients and encourage the parents to, keep consistent on the schedules. But it doesn't always work out. And you try, they will still do the surgery because the purpose is to help save the kid. But then it's a losing battle when the support system is not there. So when they're in the hospital, yes, you got the support system and the medical staff, but when they're outside, when they've gone home, that's when the issues might occur, and you might see them once, twice. I saw a couple of kids come back 5, 6 times
Wow.
because they didn't have the proper support system at home.
Oh. That just brings a little tear to my eye because this is a little person fighting for their life, you know?
Exactly. And you think the reason the parent, brought them to the hospital to get better, to get the surgery, was because they wanted them in their life.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I felt like they saw it as, ooh, they're sick, go to the hospital, now I'm free without them. So sometimes it felt like it was medical babysitting for some of these parents, which is sad.
Wow. That's profound. Considering Eros and how much we wanted to bring him home from the hospital, we were there every day and we were talking to him and singing to him and telling him about the family and looking in his eyes. When he would open his eyes and look at us, we would just look right into his eyes, It's very fascinating. It's very fascinating.
Yeah, I just want to say this. So sometimes I think when it's the baby, you see the parents doing everything, but when it's like a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, that's when you kind of saw some parents slide. So babies, yes, they were there, but sometimes not so much.
We all need love. We all need love. Love is the healing factor. What I'm hearing is the perceived loss of love with the children, that they were not experiencing love. Therefore, they were not getting well because we're all sustained by the love of this universe.
Exactly. Yep. Everyone getting the love and the support. Yep.
That's why, family, we have got to source the love within. And we've got to be the fountain of love wherever we go, because you never know. You may be in a room with a child that's feeling loveless, and you're pouring out a fountain of love, and it's triggering them to get in touch with their inner love child. We all have an inner love child, an inner flower child, right? That peace, joy, love child inside.
Yes. Hey, Rev, I want to talk from the parent point of view, what LaToya is talking about. Falana, my daughter, my first daughter, was born premature. She's 1 pound 12 ounces. I had her in the 26th week, and we spent 96 days in the NICU. And I observed what LaToya is saying. There were some parents that never showed up. These babies were tiny and developing, and they never showed up. I was there 20 out of 24 hours for 96 days, back and forth to the hospital, right there in Einstein Hospital in the Bronx with my daughter. She had everything that could happen to her happen to her. She had 16 blood transfusions. She collapsed every vein. They had to put a scalp IV in her head. I came and she had this thing sticking out her head. I started crying. She collapsed her lungs. She collapsed this and that. I didn't think that I was going to have a daughter. And I was going through so much. I didn't understand what I was going through, but I knew that I had to be there for her. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I did. I was there. And I learned to do every single thing for her. And then the nurses, they just let me do it. They would let me take the leads off, to take her out, to feed. I couldn't really feed her. She was feeding from a tube. And having this conversation, I can understand, of course, I'm sustained by the love of God. I don't know what sustained this child, because I thought, this is just too much. I've never seen a one child go through so many things in such a short period of time, that I was there. And I don't know if that was love. I don't know what it was. If it was terror, fear. I was there. And I don't know what other people were doing. I was there. And I know there were children there that no one ever came to see. And I always was like, wow, how could a parent go through this and with their child and just leave them in the hospital? I couldn't think of even doing that myself. And there was so much, there was so much going on, but I knew that I had to be there. And I don't know if that made the big difference in her coming out of everything she was going through. But I was there. I was there. And I was permanently there to make sure that I did my part for her. And so, yes, Latoya, it's critically important for the parents to be involved, you know, in the child's life. But there's obviously times when they're not. And we can see the difference. We can see the difference between the kids whose parents are coming constantly and giving whatever it is to give, and the ones that don't. So this human interaction is critically important, especially for babies. So yeah, that was a tough time for us. But now she's grown. She's 28. She's doing her thing. She's getting a doctorate's degree, and she's don't, you know, I told her, I said, I don't know why you came into this incarnation this way, but trust me, you've done all the hard work. Now you can cruise through life. You don't have to worry. You done survived. And so you can progress knowing that you overcame so much in that NICU as a baby, as someone that didn't even have any kind of mental construct of what survival meant. You were just doing it, just like the stars and the moon and everything doing what they're supposed to do. This little baby, this little entity in this isolate just knew, the body knew what to do to heal itself, to push, to grow, to breathe. And there was nothing I had to do but to be there and just be there. So yeah, it's very interesting what happens to these children in hospitals. But I had this experience and it was a lot. So I really appreciate what you're saying, Latoya, and I'm complete.
And if you look at Falana now, you would have no clue she started life like that. No clue whatsoever.
Not a clue.
This is a strong, powerful woman. Yeah. A really beautiful woman. You raised a really beautiful woman, and that is not an easy feat.
Thank you, Rev. And you know, she's a Libra, so she adores you.
You know, me and Falana is like Libra sisters. Yes, indeed.
Of course.
On each other, don't they?
They sure do.
It's a Libra club. It's a Libra club. Sorry.
She's an October Libra.
Yeah, it's October Libra clubs, because we're all a little suspicious of the September Libras. Like, are you really down with the Libra club? That's what we want to know. We might ask you to kind of prove your scales before you really. They have to they're kind of on the edge. We kind of have questions about them. You know, the September Libras, but it's all good. I mean, we love all Libras. The October Libras. Oh, now come on, we're deep in there. Okay, enough specialness about Libras. Okay, continue.
Yeah, the good thing is that, you know, and even back then in all my doing, there was nothing really for me to do but to hold that energy, that space for her. There was really nothing I could do, and there was nothing even the doctors could do, because she willed herself to live. She willed herself to survive. There are many times when she could have just been like, this earth thing is too much, I'm out of here. But this is what she wanted, and she willed. And I said to myself, gosh, this girl is so strong, and she represents the strongest part of me, the most courageous part of me. I raised her to be fearless and courageous no matter what. I never allowed her to feel like she had any kind of disability or anything like that. I never raised her to believe that she couldn't do something. And all of that I did without even knowing the course, without even understanding law. I just knew that if she survived that isolate, then there's nothing she could not do. So yes, I don't know why she came in this way, but that's what she did, and it grew me up, because I was young, and I maybe somebody's mother, so she grew me all the way up, and I really appreciate everything that came into my path, even though it wasn't ideal. I'm like, what am I doing, with this child? I didn't know what I was doing, but anyway, the universe knows, and going with the flow really helps. So that really helped me in raising her, because I didn't know how to raise a premature baby. Go with the flow, and I'm complete.
Delicious. Rose is next. How you loving? Are you able to unmute, Rosa? Rosa's on the stage. Okay, anyone have anything else? But while Rosa gets unmuted, not sure what's happening there. Rosa, we don't hear you. I don't know if you can hear us.
What? I
Okay, there you
apologize,
go.
because I was listening and in the bathroom, and my phone was in the bedroom.
Oh.
I apologize. I really do. I believe that little sequence of ideas when God desires, or we say yes to coming forth in this space called Earth, third dimension. I believe that we already knew what we were going to encounter in this experience, and that we are now in the process of unlearning all that stuff that we got when we hit the planet, because then we got bombarded with a slap on the butt and reality that, oh my God, these folks are heathens. Are you gonna wake me up and slap at me? Really? Anyway, I understand that, and your sister, your daughter, probably will never have to experience anything else in life, because she did her work in the beginning. And that's it, and that's all. And thank you for being there. But I also believe that no matter what life we encounter when we get here, we still have a choice. And I'm learning that more and more, the more that I'm down here with my aunts. And I knew that at 16, I actually knew the day I got here in their household that there had to be a better way. I remember at 11 saying, God, this ain't real. There's got to be something else. And then my journey began. I believed this with all my heart, that I knew that there was something else outside of this house, because in this house, it's like a cocoon. And they actually controlled it. The husband and wife, my aunt and uncle. So they put all these, they tried to instill
some concepts that were good and some that were judgmental. You know, my uncle's favorite saying used to be niggas and flies, niggas and flies. The more I know niggas, the more I love flies. What does that say? The more I see me, the more I hate me, and I want to go somewhere where me can't be. So he moves them out to the suburbs, and they the only black family in the whole experience, right? Making them fearful of their own people, their own culture, judgmental of their own culture, not being able to walk in that person's shoes and realize you don't really know anything about them. You only see the outside. You don't see anything that they're going through in the inside. I knew at 16 I needed another space. I left, and I never came back. I called, I wrote letters, but I never stepped foot in this house, in their space again. Now, and I'm so grateful. Yesterday, my aunt and I were talking, and she stopped, and she said, "Oh my God." She said, "I see a light coming from your eyes, and it is touching me." I said, "That's the light of God. That's the light of God trying to enter into your unforgiving soul. That's the light of God. And I am that light. And don't think that it hurts." And my daughter said, "But it still hurts." Yeah, I still get hurt feelings. I try not to respond to them because I know that's judgment. That's who they are. That's who they've always been. And there's only one person in this family that's really trying to get out of it, and that's my youngest cousin. She started reading the Course in Miracles. She still got to get out of that blank Christian stuff. But this is her first experience. So I let her, do what she do. Let God do what he has to do and leave it alone. I just let her search her way, find her way. No judgment, no nothing. I know that I am here for my own salvation. It actually, it doesn't knock my soul or rock my soul. It makes my soul aware of how much work still needs to be done. How you can, I realize that I'm dealing with an 85-year-old woman who has forgotten pretty much everything that she's ever done, but she still remembers everything that everybody else has done to her. And she reads that story constantly in her mind every day. And sometimes I'll say, "Well, why don't you try to change that experience? Did your sister really mean that? Or was she trying to pull somebody else in that could comfort her? And she had her own personal comforter." It's funny how our minds see experiences in an egoic way. It's always about them. It's always, and I realize that sometimes it ain't about me. Sometimes I just have to accept how people are and be all right with it. Sometimes I don't need to say a word. But last night, my daughter kicked a bucket. She knocked a bucket. Let me, I need to share this story. At 13, I decided that 26 would be a perfect age to have a child. At that point, I said, it doesn't matter whether I'm married or not, I will have a child at 26. And guess what? I laid down with my daughter's father one time and got pregnant. And I was all right with that, because that's what I asked. Did I need his support? Not really. Not like they think that men should support their children and all that. I don't know his walk. I could survive, and I did. There was nothing that my daughter ever needed that was not provided for her. Nothing. Even if I had to do without, she had it. And she can't say she went on trips, she went to museums, she did everything as a child. And I was her support. And that's what I chose to do at 13. Will they ever understand that? Oh no, they don't go that deep. They may eventually. I wonder sometimes, is she going to be here forever? Because I think that you have to get to forgiveness
in order to go to the next space. I really understand that we all have a journey, but the ultimate journey is to get back to God. And God is nothing but love and forgiveness. God gives you grace. Why can't I give you grace? Why can't you give other people grace? That's all we're asked to do. Share love. You guys being there for your children when they were in the incubator was exactly what you were supposed to do. No, you couldn't help them medically, but you helped their spirit. You helped their spirit. Say, oh yeah, I want to be in this love that this lady and man are giving me. You help them survive just by showing up. And that's all you have to do sometimes. So I'm realizing that that's really what I have to do. And I have to be, sometimes I guess I need a reality check, because the person that my aunt was and is now is the same person she was when she used to introduce me as her husband's nieces. She did that for a very long time. She never said, these are my nieces. She never said, you know, I love you. She says it a lot now, but she didn't say it when I was 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and 15 and 16 when I really needed it. I'm stronger now. I can do this in love, peace, and I may cry, and I may go down and meditate and write my papers and tell the world how I feel in that experience at that moment, and let it go. And let it go. I am my own salvation. And if I don't save me, how can I save anybody else? How can they see how survival is? How can they see how being able to save yourself looks like? They don't know until they see you doing it. You know? And I aspire, and you want to be there. And you desire, and you learn the lessons as they come. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Let's do now. Right now, I'm not feeling that good. Right now, I choose joy and peace in this experience. Right now, I refuse to be pushed, my buttons to be pushed about nonsense. Because I know God heals everything in his own time. And if you gotta suffer, that's because you chose to suffer. If you hurt, that means that you chose that. Now, how you did it, I don't know. But nothing comes to me that I did not choose. I realize that. And the more and more that I'm in this, the more and more I realize this. So I choose peace. I choose joy. I choose light. I choose not to be connected to craziness, nor to be sparked by craziness, so that I have to react like that little black child that was fighting for her life back in 1963. No, I don't want to be that child. I'm not that child. I am better. I am greater. I am the light, and that's it. That's all, and darkness cannot overcome it, no matter how hard it might try. So I understand that. And I thank you. I thank him every day for this experience, because I know when I get out of this experience, I will never have to come to this experience again. Never. And I am complete. I hope I did. Well, it is what it is. I drop it like it's hot and just go on. Comment if you like. Peace and love. Thank you for allowing me to share. I hope you heard that. Oh, there it is.
Yes, we heard it all, Rosa. I love your share. I love it. I love it on many levels, because look at the intelligence of the universe that would circle you right back to the place where the hurt was born so that you can clear it. How does that happen? Like, when I look at the things that the universe does and where it puts people and how it meets up people and how it always is this perfect thing happening, It's so awe-inspiring. So you were bought right back. You left at 16 and you said, I'm out, right? I'm never setting foot back in this house again because y'all were mean and y'all were. You didn't, I don't necessarily get that it was overt abuse. It was covert abuse because, of course, any lack of love is abuse. I get that it was, you're not mine. I don't care about you. Like, is that kind of what we're talking about here? Like, you my husband's nieces. I don't really
Right.
even like you. Is that
Right, and never got to really know me because they were so much into feeding their ideas into their children. They never really get to know their children, I don't think. And she just didn't know she was 23. She didn't know she left her mama's house and got into her husband's bed and stayed there for 63 years. And he wasn't such a nice person either. But they're perfectly matched. Oh, they were perfectly matched. There's no question about it. And I realized that. And so it was overt. It wasn't necessarily something that they knew or was aware of. The things that she says about me now, other than last night, she admires me. She doesn't know anything about me. She doesn't know that I am Minister Rosa J. Hodge. She doesn't know that I've gone through ministerial school. She doesn't know that I have I have a master's. She doesn't know anything about me, just things that she has seen. So she's amazed when I tell her, oh yeah, when I was in St. Thomas, I had a restaurant. I wrote a book. I've done this retreat. I've gone this place. She doesn't know diddly squat about me. She remembers me as the woman who ran from them. And she doesn't even think I ran from her. She's like, didn't you grow up in Crofton? Hell no. You couldn't take me to white man land. And I'm not prejudiced, but I didn't want to be surrounded by white folks. I needed some color in my life. So diversity in my life, And so she doesn't really know who I am, and I don't even think she will ever really know because she's not in a, mental capacity kind of thing. She doesn't remember Disney Spot. Have you ever seen that movie about the woman who 30 Days of Love or something like that? She was in a car accident, so she has no memory from day to day. She'll forget what she did today. Tomorrow when she wakes up, she won't know anything. The man loved her so well that he made a video of all her life and what happened and how she got like that and married her and lived happily ever after. So I think that you have to be open to see things differently. And most people aren't. They're not open to see things differently unless something tragically happens to them. But I'm all right with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. God is amazing. I'm going to tell you how amazing God is. I've been looking for a Bluetooth for the last 3 days. And today I just came down the steps and guess where it was sitting? Right in front of my face on the floor. Right? For 2 days I've been looking for this daggone thing. God is amazing. I kept saying, you know where it is, Lord. Show me. And he did this one. It took a little while, but he showed me. God is good. There's no other thing but good in life, period. God is amazing if you allow yourself to see the miracles of your life. Yes. We live in an amazing experience. Some of us hate it. Some of us just let it happen and be happy with it. I'm one of those people. I'm going to let it happen and be happy with it. I might stay for a minute, but I'm not staying in any kind of discord for very long. So she still asks me every morning, are you coming to live with me? I'd be like, you know what? I think I need a break. And unless I have the money to go to a hotel for a couple of days and love on me, this ain't going to work. I need to be surrounded by love at some point. The energy level here, for me, I have to remember to love me in this experience, to separate me from her experience, to go about upstairs when she's downstairs and pray, I have to love me first in this experience. That's what I've learned over the last 4 weeks that I've been here. I got to etch that time out for me. In my earpiece, playing all kinds of spiritual, upbeat music, listening to Wyman's and Kurt Franklin and dancing my way through this day. I got to do that. Because
how did the forgiveness process go? The 77 times 7?
Well, no, I have not even begun to do it on a full level. I just got my candles. I just set up my space, and I have not yet done the 7 yet. But that's something that I will be doing on a constant basis. At the time, I have not, the only time that I really have is when I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I need to start waking up at 4 in order to do it, and do it at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm still trying to get my schedule, my bodily schedule together. Because she wants to sit up and talk till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll be like, girl, I'm used to going to bed at 8 o'clock. I'm used to laying in my bed at 8 o'clock in the morning and getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. She'll sleep till 10 or 12.
I have a question, Rosa. Who's in the leadership position? Is she in charge? What is the dynamic?
That's a whole.
What's the dynamic?
That is a whole nother story. She has 3 kids who have taken over her life pretty much. They tell her when she has the doctors, they pay all the bills. She still has her own private money and credit cards and that kind of thing, but they spend her money.
But if she has the 3 kids, why are you there? Why aren't they taking care of her?
Okay, so she has her middle son lives here. He took care of his father at night for 10 years. So he's really thoroughly exhausted. That's why I'm here, to relieve him of some of his pressures at night. And also the fact that I love her unconditionally. I don't want anything from her. I don't,
Right. I understand that. I want to understand.
Her other children.
Yeah, I want to understand.
Yeah, her daughter is very loving. She started to read the Course in Miracles, but she hasn't gotten there completely. And of course, none of us have. And but she has a high-powered lawyer's job. She's a partner in one of the biggest realtors law firms in this area. And her other son, who is the oldest, he has his own private company that he does and constructs and builds and repairs all over this country. He has so both of them are basically busy.
So how did it get to be that you were the one? Did they call you and say, can you come help? What was the conversation?
They did not ask me to help. But when my aunt, when her husband died, and me talking to her for those 3 days, she was calling out to me. She needed something that they weren't giving. And what I think that they're not giving is, first, the responsibility is hers to heal. And they've taken away all of her ability to just say, I want to do this, I want to do that. So she doesn't get to enjoy her life. Except for looking at TV, which is not who she is.
Quick question. So just so that I'm tracking along. So the husband passed, that she called you, and subliminally, let's just say, she was, now we know on a universal level, the universe brought you here for forgiveness, salvation. We understand that. I'm wondering, in that, I get to choose how I'm going to be here. And I'm going to be here because I am going to fulfill my role, my part in God's plan for salvation. And like yesterday, I accept my part in God's plan for salvation. What are the terms though? So I just walk in the house and I just start doing things like, what are the terms upon which I am here? Did
Now,
y'all establish that?
that has not been established as of yet.
Get
Because
it
I
done
have decided-
ASAP. Get it done ASAP.
I think this, and you're right, I have to get this done, but I'm going to go home today and I'm going to lay in my tub and I'm going to write down what I desire in this experience. And that's it, that's all. I don't have to, I have to write it down and I want to give it to them and discuss it together as three people. Let all
Well,
three of us understand.
you don't necessarily have to discuss it, because what I'm hearing from a spiritual coaching paradigm, I'm hearing several things that could just require correcting. One, what is the understanding among all parties with regard to my service here? Because I'm here serving, yes? And
Yes.
the one serving is not in any way going to experience anything other than love and joy and peace and fulfillment. You don't get to still beat up on the one serving. You don't get to talk about me. You don't get to say anything off to me. No, we're not doing that, right? So I don't care how old you are and how many issues you got. We're not doing that. And they know who to say those things to and who not to, even crazy people. Crazy people know who to mess with and who not to fuck with. They know. So we must have a clear, and that comes from within, firm boundaries. Yes, clear boundaries that I will be here on the weekend, Saturday from this time to this time, Sunday from this time to this time. When I come, I will sit with your mother, read her stories. I will rub her legs. I will be kind. If she says something off, I'm going to blast my gospel music. It's not going to be in my earbuds. Everybody in this piece going to be lifted up to a whole new vibration. I'm going to bring some candles in here. I will shift the energy in there like that in a New York second. I'm walking in there all whited up. You know how we do with our all whites? And them candles would be lit up. The incense would be smoking. I don't like incense. Well, these are the terms of my service here. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. So when I'm not here, you won't have any incense. Yay! Now, would you like a back rub? Would you like a back rub? They don't fucking get to say how it's gonna go. They don't get to say how what you do is gonna go. You get to say that. And each person in the experience gets to say how it's going to go or how they are going to be in the experience. It's all voluntary. So you are coming here, and I know you're there from love, and I know you're there for forgiveness. This is your personal journey of circling right back to where the hurt was born, and the beauty of the universe, pardon me, brought you right back to where the hurt was born. And it's so beautiful that you get to excise it right where it was born. I mean, that's so beautiful. It's getting to the root. Like when you get to this root of this thing just with forgiveness, that's going to solve the whole thing. The whole thing is just going to blossom open like a rose. In the meantime, family, this is what you have to understand. While you are healing something, especially something as deep and tender, like now, Rosa, you're dealing with something that's so deep and tender as a childhood wound or a preteen wound or a teen wound, or maybe a wound that continued for years. When you are in the throes of healing something like that, please carve out the boundaries around yourself so that you are not being exposed. You're open, you're raw, you're vulnerable. You got an oozing wound. You have to treat yourself like a patient in a hospital. You cannot still go about your day doing the things that you normally would do. I remember when I was in my intervisions experience, they told us certain things not to do because you don't argue with people, don't talk to these people, don't do these things, because we have went through these processes that began to open us. And you're opening and you're healing and you're being vulnerable. And now You get to love yourself so much that you set around yourself. I had to learn this in intervisions. I had to learn this. You had to set around you the perfect space for your healing to unfold. So not only are you there to forgive, which is salvation. This couldn't have been a better story and a better day for a Course in Miracles lesson, right? Pardon me. Not only are you healing it, you get to create this circumstances, not the circumstances, please help me, Spirit. You get to create the cocoon of love around yourself as you're this, yes, this caterpillar turning into a butterfly. You're about to get your wings and go to Africa soon. You're in the chrysalis now. And a chrysalis is a protected space. So the dust is not getting in there. The wind and things is not. It's a hardened chrysalis. The caterpillar just on cue, it just knows I'm crawling up this tree. It goes up a tree. It goes to the underside of the branch where it could fall. How does it know to do this? It knows to do this. It's the infinite intelligence of the universe. And it weaves this thing around itself. It literally paralyzes its own self and just dies, kind of, and kind of not. Kind of dead and kind of not dead. And then after a while, it's going to emerge a butterfly. Like, that's freaking mind-boggling. You are in a chrysalis. Don't don't do what you're doing without a cocoon. Yes?
I so agree with you, and I know that this is my journey right now, but I also understand that I have to create that, and they need to be aware. There are certain things that I will accept and certain things that I won't. You don't have to pay me to do anything. You don't have to leave me nothing in your will. You ain't got to do none of it. Yeah, I ain't here for your money.
Yeah, but I wouldn't turn down money either. I mean, don't be too, wait a minute now, don't turn down the money if they want to give it to you and you don't require it. If they want to give it to you, they know that's not your intention. They know you ain't after her money. Yet if they desire to gift you, by all means, say thank you. I appreciate the generosity of the universe. Yeah.
You are so right. And this is so true. That's what my journey at home will be. Because I need to get into my space, because my space is peace.
And your space is like your cocoon. So nothing really says that you have to live at her house, do you? Do you have to live there?
She every day she wakes up with that same thought, come live with me. Come live with me. And I'll be like, oh, okay, let me see how I'm going to do this. Because I need a space separate from this.
Well, have you ever coached her and said, tell me more. Tell me more about why you want me to come live with you. Talk to me about that. You know that it's the loneliness because the husband died and she slept in the same bed with him from 23 to 63. She never been alone probably a day in her life. She's super lonely and super afraid. She doesn't know that she is the universe. So we cannot let other people's issues punk us into doing things that are more than our healing requirement. Now, my healing requirement is for me to come here and clean up my forgiveness. My healing requirement don't mean I have to live here. I can come here every day. I can come on the weekends. I can come exactly as Source is guiding and inspiring me to come. I'm not going to be beholden to you, though, because I know when I need to forgive. So she says, come live with me. Come live, please come live with me. And it's just so heartbreaking. Okay, let me come live with you. No. Tell me about that in love and power. Tell me about, sit next to her and hold her hand. What about this? Why do you want me to live with you? Tell me about it. Talk to me about it. Talk to me about how you feel. What's going on with you? Yes, talk to her. So she can, with an intention for her to be free, because spirit never heals one person and leaves everybody out to hang to dry. If you're there and you are a minister, you are being healed. She is being healed. Her husband who's rising, his soul rising is being healed and lifting up higher in other dimensions. Her 3 kids are being healed. Their partners are being healed. Their kids are being healed. The people they work with are being healed. We don't know what God is doing. And God's plan for salvation is far beyond my tiny little mind. And I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. Sometimes I don't even know what my damn part is, but I accept it, and I accept it.
Right. And that's what I'm in that. I am in that I accept it. However, I do agree we need to have a conversation, just she and I. So, and I know that the universe will present the exact time when that conversation comes.
Yes, and before you have the conversation, here's another thing that I do with any difficult conversation. I go up first. Before I have the conversation with the person in the third dimension, I go up to my angels and I say, can you please communicate with the angels of that person, please, and make it so perfect that our conversation will flow like butter. And I go above everybody's heads. I just go up to the angels and I ask them, if you don't believe in angels, Orisha, the Vedas, the Devas, whatever your jam is, the ancestors, right? Because different people have different teams that they call the Loa, different teams, the saints, spirits that you go to, your spirit team. I call it your spirit team. Well, I go up to the angels and then I ask my angels to talk to the angels of that person. And then the angels of that person receive the information from my angels. And then the angels to that person will then communicate in that person's consciousness the way that they need to hear things and the way that's going to be most receptive. And then those angels are going to open the doorway and you'll just be sitting there one day and the conversation will just so naturally unfold and it'll be beautiful.
Yeah. I'm there, Val. I love you so much. You are amazing. And I will definitely do that in the situation and when it comes to forth. Because I know the conversation has to be done on all levels. It has to be
with
done
the family too, with everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What am I doing here? Why am I here? And I would tell them the truth, the spiritual truth. I would say, you may or may not understand this, but I didn't have a good time growing up in your family. Maybe you know it. And I'm here to reconcile that. I'm here to clear the water completely. I'm here to clear everything, all the decks. I'm here for perfect peace. I am here as minister of peace and love and joy.
Thank you, Red.
Absolutely.
You are my, look. You are the wings beneath my soul.
I so love you, Rosa. Oh my God, I so love you. And I got you, I've got you for Africa in this consciousness. This witch has you in Africa. I see the will of God. And I stand and agree with you on that. Yes, I stand and I'm unwavering. So I know it's happening. I just don't know when.
This morning, I was in another room, and the brother in that room is working with Liberia.
Wow.
To help. And so they need teachers to teach them how to teach. That's what I do.
Woo, that's your jam right there. That's your calling card right there. Girl, I would hurry up and forgive everybody in this house. Come on, we're going to do a whole blanket forgiveness because Africa is waiting for me. Everybody in here forgiving? Do you forgive everything? Yes? Do you forgive everything? And even if all of y'all don't forgive everything, I got enough forgiveness for all of y'all. I forgive everything, everyone, everybody. I love everybody. And bye, I'm out to Africa to live the rest of my life or my next phase of my life.
Can you imagine? I would love to go there and teach those teachers how to teach the way I teach. Because I don't teach from books. And Africa is an open encyclopedia.
Wow.
There's so much history in Liberia and Ghana and all of those places. Mm-hmm. When he said that, I was like, okay, all right, God, I see you working. So I know that this is how it's going to be. And I just have to write it down and make sure they totally understand me. That I have the right to come and go as I please and don't ask me no questions because I will tell you the truth, whether you like it or not.
We know that.
I have learned how
out to be gentler with telling the truth. But there was a time when I just told you the truth and dropped it like it was hot, and I didn't care how you responded. But I have grown.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm still growing.
Mm-hmm.
And looking forward to my life. And my daughter, who is amazing, because I had the conversation, she said, well, tell me what happened. I said, no, I don't have to tell you what happened. I just have to tell you that I'm rising above it. She said, well, Mommy, you know how those people are. I asked you, are you going to be able to handle that? You know how they are. I do, and I can. So it is, but I will have that conversation. That is so important for me to have that conversation, especially now, because she keeps insisting. I'm telling you, if she doesn't say it once, she says it twice. So next time she says it, I'm going to ask Spirit, this is the time. Talk to her so she'll understand. Anyway. And then, a lot of times I think that jealousy has a lot to do with it too. With her children, excuse me, that's my censor. With her children, jealousy was there when we were kids. They were jealous of me and my sister being in their house, especially the boys. The things that they did were just, and that their parents sanctioned, was just ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. So sometimes people get the responsibility of raising a younger soul, but they ain't ready for it. So they make mistakes. They did the best they could with the knowledge that they had. That's all I can say.
And this lady was 23. How nutty was I at 23? I didn't know jack. I was nutty at 23. I didn't know what to do with myself and my life. I was still in the cult trying to figure it out. Got married because they told me to. I didn't know anything. So,
she has erased the fact that I left. I left at 16. We were living in one house, and they moved out here in 72. And I was like, I ain't coming with y'all. She still thinks that we lived with them all the time. She still thinks that we lived with them everywhere. And I'd be like, no, that didn't happen.
Well, everybody has their own kind of take on the situation. If you even have 10 eyewitnesses to a car accident, they say 10 different things. That's just a phenomena of human experience. It's exactly what the Course is talking about, that our perception is our reality, even though it's not truth. It's our reality. That's what we saw. What we saw is made up in the mind first. And they've proven this with many psychological exams, that humans, we have a lot of biases, and our biases determine what we see. So she's seeing a different picture because she has a different consciousness. And it's all good because y'all don't have to agree on things that are not happening, that's not here now. It's all good. The key is too, with this whole thing that will make this whole thing go much smoother, put your face on her and you're going to be a different person with her. Rosa, it's what I had to do when I had one of my greatest, one of the roughest times in my entire life was that 2 to 3 year span of the divorce, the child custody issues, mom passing, the financial ruin, all at the same time. It was just like bam, 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 like I was in a boxing ring of the universe, and I was not Mike Tyson. Trust me, the universe was Mike Tyson, and I was getting my ass whipped and learning multiple lessons. And one of the things that the angels did, they took me into the courtroom because I kept going to the courthouses. We were just in court all the time. I was just knew the people in the courthouse. Hi, I'm back again. Oh, hi, how you doing? Come on in. Like, I don't need people in here to be greeting me, one of those kind of things. Some places you don't want to be greeted. You just want to, I was just mad, I was angry, and I was depressed, and I was sad, and I was, and I would make a video, and I would light up for a few minutes, and then I would be like, my life sucks. Then I would be like, wait a minute, you read A Course in Miracles, your life doesn't suck. You pray, you meditate, you have a spiritual practice. Really? Your life sucks? Like, I would just be kind of different places at different times. And when the angel showed me my face on everyone in the courthouse, my face on me, my face on the judge, my face on my quote unquote former husband, healing partner, Christ, the one that the course calls your savior, the one that you made out to be your villain, that's your savior. Play with that for a while in your mind. And the attorney for my husband, I had made them all out to be villains. And then my face was on all of them. I'm like, you did the whole thing. You did the whole thing. And like Neo said, you already know if I'm going to take this piece of candy or not, Oracle. She said, wouldn't be much of an oracle if I didn't. He said, well, where's my choice in it? If you already know if I'm going to take this piece of candy. He asked her that question before he grabbed it. She said, you already made the choice. You came here now to find out, figure out why you made that choice. Family, we already made these choices. You know, in heaven, Rosa, before you got here, you set this whole thing up with them. Okay, you be my tormentor. You be mean to me because I have to learn love, really deep, deep, deep levels, because it's probably going to be my last incarnation. I mean, we cooked all this stuff up when we were in heaven. Then we forgot. We came through the sea of forgetfulness and we came here on planet Earth and we landed as a baby. Yay! And we forgot everything and let the games begin. Kind of like the Hunger Games. The Hunger Games has a tad bit of reality to it, doesn't it? You know, people killing each other.
Yes, it does. It does.
You know, yeah.
I'm so grateful for this understanding because it makes life so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not confused.
That's right.
I'm not in awe of. I'm just ready to heal. That's it. That's all. And I pray that this experience will help everyone else to become a better human here. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So
it already has. And don't think the kids are not talking to each other like, wow, she comes to be with mom. That's amazing. Don't think they're not relieved because they know that one of them got to step up to the plate and do it. And they probably are over busy, don't want to, reconfigure their whole life for mom, or maybe you're thinking we have to get a nurse for mom or, a home health aide for mom. And these are difficult things for kids to do. So you're a comfort also for them. Don't think they're not.
You know what?
Thinking about that.
I see it so much readily in my cousin who stays here with her 24, when he gets off from work, he comes home. So all night he's catering to his father and his mother. I see it in his face and in his spirit. He laughs more than he has ever laughed in the last 10 years. He relaxes. He can actually go to sleep, And at the beginning, she was like, where's Steve? Where's Steve? I said, Steve is asleep. We're going to let him sleep. We're here. I'm here. We can do this. We don't need to disturb him. And she relaxes, So I know that my being here is soothing to them. Now, do they want to let go of some of the responsibility, like of planning her day? I don't know. Because we do some things differently,
Well, yeah, they don't really have to let go of responsibility because you don't want to take on more responsibility than.
Oh, hell no.
Mm-hmm. So it's beautiful. They can keep all the responsibility. You're there to be the salvation of the world. That's it.
That's right.
I'm only here to forgive. Right. Salvation is my only function here. Like this course lesson today. Yeah, for sure. Because you don't want to get in deeper because of other things. You want to know I'm here for forgiveness. And as soon as my forgiveness is complete, I'll lift out of here on angel's wings. Yes. So while I'm here, I will love it and I will enjoy it and I accept my part in God's plan for salvation. I don't know how this is going to play out. And I know it's miracles and I love it. I don't know how this is going to play out, right? You know it's going to be perfect. This is God we're talking about.
It's going to be perfect. I know it's going to be healing, and I know I will be a better person.
Oh yeah.
When I leave this.
That's right. That's right.
It. That's all. And what happens to you is your business and God's. I had to tell her that yesterday. Because she wanted to tell me about the father of my child. I don't know if I've ever told you about my story with my daughter. At 13, I decided 26 was the best age for me to have a child. Married or not, I laid down with her father one time and got pregnant. Did I hold him hostage? Did I take him to court? Did I do any of that? No, I didn't. And I'm not angry because I didn't. I'm not disappointed in him because he's on his own journey. We are friends, and that's it. That's all. When I need something, he'll say, "What can I do for you?" And he'll do it, but I'm here only for God. And God is my salvation. He's my provider of everything. He has given me grace and mercy throughout my life in my darkest hours. I remember wanting to kill myself and realizing, oh no, because I didn't want anybody else to raise my child. That's selfish, right? I didn't want these crazy people to raise my baby. That wasn't happening. So I couldn't kill myself, and I didn't. And so the journey still goes on. But I am clear now, and you have made it so much clearer. I appreciate you. I love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. I will always love you guys. I will always love you. You will always have a place in my heart. I will always be of service to you. Anytime, any place, if I can do anything, and I mean anything, even down to wiping your dirty ass when you can't do it for yourself, I will do that.
I hope it don't come to that, Rosa. But thank you for the offer. That ain't gonna happen. At 100 and something, I'm gonna still be wearing heels and be like, "Come on, y'all, we going to the next event." Oh my goodness, they're gonna be like, "When is this lady gonna stop?" When I'm dead, okay?
When your job is done,
my job is done. Hello, while there's breath and life and energy in this body, I'm gonna be about my Father's business, and that's it. Okay, that's it. That's all. We got work to do. The planet still doesn't look like perfect peace and perfect love and perfect joy. I guess we still have work to do. I love it. I love it. I love you, Rose. I so adore you. You know that. You're part of our family. You know that.
Yeah. I know. Yes. And I'm so grateful for that. I am so grateful that you guys wrap your love around me.
Yes. And you have all the resources you require in this situation, and the inner resources, the spiritual community, and you have a powerful witch in your corner, because I'm standing in the gap. I stand in the gap for a lot of people. They say it in church, right? Stand in the gap, because I know what their thing looks like, and I just hold it until they're ready to pick it up and run with it. I just hold it. It's like being a keeper of dreams. And I love that. You tell me a dream or something like that, I'm going to ask you about it. Hey, what about that dream? When you going? What you up to? Yeah.
And it's not invasive, and I like that. I like the fact that people can ask you questions and you can hear the love because they're truly concerned. Some people ask you questions basically because they nosy. They just want to know. They want to judge it. They want to give their little 2 cents.
Because they don't have anything going on in their own life, so they try to get into your lane. Yeah. Or they're too afraid to live their big destiny. You never have a concern with telling people who are living their destiny what you desire to do, because they'll just be wind, like Rosa said, beneath your wings. If you tell people, that's what Jesus said, don't cast your pearls before swine. If you tell people who ain't about nothing about it in their life, and they just laying around watching Netflix and talking about people, and you tell them your dreams, you just sabotaged yourself.
You are so right. I love you, girl. I love
you. Love you, and woo, you are doing so much heavy lifting over there for the whole universe. This forgiveness that you're doing over there with her, And with this whole situation with the children, with everything, forgiving the boys and what, I know how boys can be when they're growing up. I had a son, they were all doing all kinds of things. I got two grandsons. They are quite energetic and lively and up to mischief and all kinds of things. So I understand. And kids can be cruel. I understand that. So, we've had bully situations. We've had situations where we were tormented by other kids. We've had, or maybe we were the tormentors. We understand those things, right? Now it's time for the love. Now it's time for the forgiveness and the salvation from all the hurts, all of them.
And I have to realize too that I'm not the only one going through this. I'm just the one who is aware of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we go through here in this community is just to prepare the next person who's going to be going through a similar situation. And they'll have some tools that they can use. So, yeah, I realize that I am not on this journey by myself. And I am so grateful that I'm not.
Ooh, I tell you. Let me tell you. That's one of the...
My friend.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? That's one of the things I love about spirituality, is that it's no one size fits all, yet it applies to all. So the exact thing that Rosa is experiencing, you are not going to experience that exact same thing in that exact same way with the exact same people. You are going to experience the version for yourself with the same principles, love and forgiveness. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Love and forgiveness. What is forgiveness? Give up all my old hurts, give up all my old thoughts, give up all my separation, give up all my beliefs about other people, give up all the beliefs about myself, give it all up to the universe. It'll transmit that energy into a higher vibratory force field around me and around all. And that is called freedom. Thank you, Rosa. We're ready to go to our galactic signature, unless any of the mods has anything else to share. Powerful discussion. Yes.
I wanted to thank Mama Rosa for simply sharing her experience, because her story allowed me to understand my mother and the experience that we shared, and how everything's circling back around. And I did know that I forgave my mother, but I knew that I forgave her. It helped me realize that she forgave herself. And I know everybody doesn't really know my story, but my mother was not a part of my life. At 7, I think 7 was my best memories. And then my parents got a divorce and everything fell apart and it was just a mess. That's what we think, right? And so I had abandonment issues and all of that because she was gone, and we lived with our father, and we didn't know where she was. And for years, we didn't know where she was, and we didn't hear from her. So the experiences that I had in her absence, I felt like they were her fault, because if she was there, these things would have never happened to me. And so, we went through our thing, and my grandmother and her sisters, the prayer warriors, they kind of, helped get some things back together when I was 16. What I'm wanting to say is, at the end of my mother's life, I was the one that took her to the hospital. She needed a transplant, and I was the one that spent most of the time with her. And on her final day, I was the one that brought her dear heart to spend time with her. And then she let go and released her form. While I was listening to Mama Rosa's story, I felt my mother's presence, and I was assured that she freed herself. She forgave herself for not being there for her 4 daughters, the ones that were with my dad. And it's just a freeing experience to know that everything is right. It doesn't matter what it looked like.
Yes.
Know that the universe is constantly working for our highest and greatest good.
Yes.
That is a true statement. If you want to say God, source, creator, Allah, whomever, whatever you want to call it, all these experiences, no matter how they hurt, no matter how hard it is to look at them, to go through them, to experience them, rest in the fact that salvation is inevitable on the other side of it. I didn't know, I'm 13 and pregnant. Like, I thought my world was coming to an end. I'm like, hey, I want to die right now. And along with all the other experiences that I had, and that made me feel like I wanted to crawl under a rock or die, because I just don't want to go through this.
Mm-hmm.
But sitting here in this space where I am now, and having gone through those experiences, they were all for my greater good. They were all to help me be that divine, to fulfill my divine path, and to assist others in understanding their experiences and how these experiences build and shape us so that we can be great. And we can help others. And we're all here in service to each other. I really appreciated this lesson today. It just let me know that all of this is part of the divine plan, and it really circles right back around to where I was earlier. Everything is happening in divine order and as it should be. It's as it should be. Just let go and let God. As you know, it's kind of a cliche thing, but if we let go, everything will just be. Everything will fall into place, and we will be free. We will experience freedom on a daily basis. Observe it, of course, but just don't get crazy about it. And I'm just so thankful right now because I know my mother is absolutely happy, and I'm so complete right now. I'm tearful. I'm happy. There are tears of joy. There are tears of joy because I know I was put in a place. My life had purpose and still has purpose.
Of course.
Even like when you were talking about the parents that didn't show up to the NICU and all of that, everything has its purpose. My heart goes out to those parents that didn't show up because there was something going on there.
That's right.
Deeper than any of us can ever imagine. Why or how they couldn't show up or whatever their experience was. Everything is in divine order and as it should be. There's no need for us to worry. Just know that salvation is all that we should be doing at this point. It's just allowing the Holy Spirit and God to relax our hearts and set us free. And I'm complete. I'm just so full right now. I'm complete. Thank you.
Delicious. This morning, family, there have been almost 100 people through this room. We got to give a shout out to all the people who shared the room, all the people who smashed up the likes on YouTube, on Facebook, everyone who participated, who brought your love here, who continue to bring your love here. You're loved. You're appreciated. You're welcome. Share the love. Share the love. Galactic Signature.
Yay. What an awesome room today. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, Mods. Thank you, LaToy. Thank you, Mama Rosa, for all that you imparted to us today. Thank you for all the listeners. Remember, this is lesson 99. There's a special message for today, which has the power to remove all forms of doubt and fear forever from your mind. If you are tempted to believe them true, remember that appearances cannot withstand the truth. These mighty words contain, salvation is my only function here. God is still love, and this is not his will. So with that, I bring you our galactic signature. We are in Kin 221, Red Cosmic Dragon. We're having a red day. We're going to initiate some things today. So here we go. I endure in order to nurture. Transcending being. I seal the input of birth with the cosmic tone of presence. I am guided by the power of life force. I endure in order to nurture. Transcending being. I seal the input of birth with the cosmic tone of presence. I am guided by the power of life force. I endure in order to nurture. Transcending being. I seal the input of birth with the cosmic tone of presence. I am guided by the power of life force. Life force. Red Cosmic Dragon.
Woohoo! Blood Clan! Blood Clan in the house. Red Cosmic Dragon, Blood Clan.
Not the truth. Is that not the truth?
And a big shout out to Wiz, because he's Red Cosmic Dragon. That's his galactic signature. So yes, and lots of love to the wizard, also known as Roberto Amado Sanchez, Red Cosmic Dragon in the house. All right, family. Have a beautiful day. Love y'all. Everybody send some love. Everybody on stage, send some love to my love tubers. Don't play with my love tubers. Love y'all. Peace. A beautiful day. Light the world up.